Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final words. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0. This video is brought to you by OneFootball. OneFootball's app makes it easier to find all the latest news, stats and scores in one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. We are joined by Dave, newly married. Dave, congratulations, Dave.
Congratulations, Dave.
Look at the
Look at him showing.
That's giving it the whole Beyonce.
Yeah, he was giving it.
Beyonce.
She loves it.
Listen, if you like it, if you like it, put a ring on it,
and he did.
We both did.
Well, they both, yeah. So they both must have liked it.
That's it.
There you
go.
Okay. Yeah, let's move on.
We digress.
Yeah, we do.
Well, that's what we do. It's 0-0. We've got quite a long time to fill.
You like pet of the rings there. All of us were giving it the three, giving it the bit of Beyonce. There you go. Carry on. Where you were.
Thanks very much. Yeah, 0-0. Palace wasn't the most awe-inspiring game of football I've ever been to, but the positives were we went down there and for an away game, we controlled it. We never looked phased. We were always the better team. They never did. They didn't do anything apart from something in like the first minute or 2 minutes, and apart from that, it was a good performance. That's all I can say. But we just couldn't finish it off.
Yeah, we were very, very good in terms of controlling the way the game went and creating opportunities, albeit not fantastic ones, but we did. And it was the way we passed the ball around. I was saying to Dave off camera before, it looked like you've seen so many of I suppose, the better clubs in the Premier League, the top clubs, play when they go away from home. It was that kind of performance where they're always on the ball and they're looking to do something. And we restrict the Palace to nothing, really.
They're a funny team because when you think of Palace, you think good home record. But they've been shocking at home. They've been better away. And you think, we've been playing quite a high line, although not as high lately, which means we've got more clean sheets. But you think, well, they played Batshuayi, but they played Benteke, which sort of played into our hands, and then they just played a very, very deep as you can possibly get without being behind the keeper, which ultimately restricted us, didn't it?
But we said this on the preview last week. I'd seen a few Crystal Palace fans tweeting and stuff about Hodgson and I suppose there's similar criticisms that we had at Allardyce last season was, well, we're safe now, so why aren't you just letting the team off the leash and just have a go? They've got the likes of Sahar, they've got the likes of Batshuayi, they've got Benteke.
Maya.
Max Meyer, who was a really good player in Germany, just hasn't quite found his feet this season. The fullbacks probably could get forward if he really wanted to. They've got that kind of pace. And yet on Saturday, they were so deep. And their centre-forward positions were so deep. And you're right, we played on the halfway line, and not once did they go, right, we're just going to test one over the top and see if we can get Sahar in. And very, very strange way of playing football when ultimately you've got nothing to play for.
Do you think they were worried about us on the counter-attack because of what we've done recently to the likes of United and what we did to Arsenal and West Ham, whereas they give us room to get in behind, we destroyed them. So do you think their game plan was sit as deep as we can and try not to lose this game?
I don't know where the sort of caught in between, right, we've got a bad home record, but we're safe, what do we do? And I think that has been the criticism for them. We don't talk too much about them under Hodgson, but it's like, are we stick or bust?
Yeah.
Ultimately, Roy Hodgson's job is not to lose games. I think more than not to win games. I know that's a weird way of looking at it, but it is, isn't it? It's not to lose games. But don't get me wrong, his tactics were pretty much spot on in terms of how to stop us from playing the way we want to play. And so you can only say, well, fair enough. You did what you need to do, but maybe they thought a couple of set pieces, their penalty record is like, what are they on now, 48 penalties for the season, I think.
They are mad, the amount they get.
They get penalties, like, it seems, every single week. And we know the fella who's got a weird name.
Milivojevic.
That's him, yeah. So he's got a weird name.
Yeah.
He's got a tremendous record. So they probably bank on that. And listen, Sahar's the #1 winner of penalties. He must be on earth. Because he's always on his...
Salah's trying to Salah's outdived them this year to win quite a few, hasn't he? But
so, from that point of view, I thought they had their tactics spot on, and
they've got when you look at Palace, for me...
they haven't. Don't say what you're going to say. Don't say it. They haven't got good players.
They're attacking players.
They've got 3 good players.
They're attacking.
Come on, Dave. Come on.
Their attacking players, I would say, are better than like Bournemouth. I would. People go on. I would, mate. Honestly, people go on about Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson's got a good goal scoring record.
Barry Cass,
mate. You're telling me that Zaha, Batshuayi, Benteke, Max Meyer aren't as good as the likes of Bournemouth in the final third?
I think Zaha.
I think what lets them down is the fact that, like you said before, they're playing on the least. They've won 4 home games out of 18. That's knackered them. They've got the 6th or 5th,
so what you're saying is
5th best away record in the Premier League.
Because Hodgson's more of a pragmatic coach, whereas Howell
Howell's expansive.
You score, we score.
I think if Eddie Howe had them as his attacking players, the onus would be on, and Van Aanholt and Wan-Bissaka. They would have 5 men flying forward, and I think...
What's the points difference between the two of them? It can't be
it's
far
not,
away.
It's not that
And
much,
that's the irony, isn't it? Is that one's ultra-defensive, one's ultra-attacking, and they've got very similar points, and they're probably a place between them, and that's where quality almost levels itself out in the Premier League. But
because they've got players, they're big, aren't they, Palace? They're always a big side. You look at them and go, it's going to be a physical game, because they all seem to be massive in that side, don't they? All of them. And so you're looking and going, well, you know, I was looking at Saturday and thinking, well, we've got to play round them. But there was very little space to play round them. And that's when there's no room in behind. We couldn't get Dean and Bernard linking up as well as we have.
We just haven't got enough clever players, have we? Really, just to unlock that. You know, that's something a bit different.
Do you think we missed... I mean, I thought Schneiderlin had a really good game Saturday for what he did. But do you think if we would have had Andre Gomes, who's a little bit more forward thinking, that might have helped the next...
Potentially, but I just think I think our problem, and this is not just this season, but for the last 10, 15, 20 years, is we've had a Gomes, or we've had an Arteta, or we've had a Pienaar, but then we've had no one to come off the bench to do that carry it on. You know, when it wasn't quite happening for Bernie, he was getting no change out of Wan-Bissaka. Richarlison clearly wasn't fit. Lookman, sort of jogged on and looked half bothered. You know, it's beyond the first 13 players. It's just that's going to be the jump. That's just why it's such coming onto the summer. Now, this where we are now replicates Koeman's first season that started when we beat City and went on for that second half season where we cleaned up. Beat a lot of teams and then we just messed the summer up. This summer we've got to get them 2 players for position, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean we had a chance right at the very start, didn't we? It was a ball over the top and I think it was Kelly swung a leg at it and missed it, and all of a sudden Dom's in on goal. You must have thought from where you're standing it's 1-0 this, because it looked like it was bounced. It was in the box and I thought, just hit it straight, you've scored.
He never had it under control, did he? His first touch almost took it away from him, and then he's coming back and he never had it under control, and he ends up having to almost get a shot off quickly, and it was weak. Whereas that first touch almost, the little under the studs, get it in front of you, and then you just you pick your spot because you've got a couple of yards, and he just doesn't have that composure. Yeah, and I suppose it's what we've been speaking about in the last few weeks. He's great at home. He's great at bringing other players into the game, but he's not that player, is he? Yet that you'll go, if I ever wanted the ball to fall to anybody, and that's the problem. And listen, I don't think anyone's hiding that fact. It's just that it is what it is, and I think when people say, but we need to buy a centre forward, it's the most important position, it's for games like this. It's games like Fulham. It's when you might only get 1 or 2 chances. And the irony is we only seem to get 1 or 2 chances against teams like Fulham and Palace and whoever else, rather than when it's an open, expansive game. But you need someone to finish it off. And it's funny because a couple of years ago, like you were saying, when we were coming to the end of that first season under Koeman, it was, we had Ron and nothing else worked. And now almost it feels like at the moment everything else is starting to click into place. And if we had a Rom, someone who you just could rely on, then we'd be flying, wouldn't we? We really would. There wouldn't. You look at teams like Leicester, and you look at Vardy, and you think 18 Premier League goals he's got this season. You know, if we had someone like that, and I know we've got players who are in double figures, but just someone that you can bank on to score, or just someone
Is that how many he's got now?
Yeah, I think he said last night, match of the day.
He's caught up then because he had, first half of the season, he had about 5.
Under Rodgers, he's really kicked on.
Yeah.
Rodgers has just put the arm around Danny and done, you know,
but it's
done
that
the best. Let's have a press-up competition. And
yeah.
You can
do
have
better
bigger pictures.
self-portrait.
Oh, it was bench press, wasn't it? It wasn't
was
press
the bench.
But it's
bench
even
press.
things
But
like...
it's a self-portrait, and if he's looking for anyone, there's people we know who could probably do a good self-portrait.
There is, absolutely, yeah.
So,
maybe
he could do that.
But I think with something like Vardy is, and I seen the goal he scored yesterday, it's that idea of like, you know, it's the third one. You square that, where last week, Walcott's like, well, I'm not squaring to Dom. Now, that's probably because he just wants the goal himself, but it's that idea of someone like Vardy, you trust him. Even 5 yards out, who's going to score? Vardy's going to score. You know, both of his goals were brilliant.
If he'd have had that chance, Dom had. It's 1-0, isn't it?
Oh, it's 1-0.
Early on Saturday.
Yeah.
Vardy, he's running through.
He's done it against us.
Yeah. One chance, it was in the net and it was over. And what that would have done to the game, then they'd have had to come out and then we would have been able to pick them off.
Yeah.
But because we've got... And listen, Dom, and said before to Dave that the improvements in his game's been unbelievable in the last 6 months.
His sense has been ridiculous.
Oh, he's gone from being someone who I was like, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure to being. I tell you what, he's a player now. It's just that probably what will be the difference with Dominic Calvert-Lewin is that
me,
goals, because everything else is. I think everything else is excellent.
To me, it's like saying Ghana and going, well, look how well Ghana's been playing the last 3 months, and then saying, well, what I want Ghana to do now is to start spraying the ball, like 30-yard crossfield passes. It's that sort. It's almost that level that you've got to go up at. Scoring goals is ridiculously hard at the highest level. That's why centre forwards are so expensive. And it's for me, that's what I feel like. I feel like his all-round game. But no one says to Ghana, "Oh, you've been brilliant." But it's with Dom, you do.
Some people do. Though.
With Dom,
some people go sell Ghana because he can't do that.
Well, those people are fucking idiots. Simple as that. You know, you look at Dom, and that's the thing he's got. His game's gone up to that level. But to get to that next level...
Well, look, you can't, can you? You take the 2 freaks out, Messi, Ronaldo. Can you name me who's got 20 league goals in the last 5 years? Consistently.
Aguero.
Aguero, Lewandowski.
Yeah.
You're struggling after that, aren't you?
Salah probably will, because he looks like
No, we only last 2 years, didn't do it for Roma.
He got 20 and 50, didn't he? But I suppose from different areas. But I know what you're saying, it is hard to...
But actually, Vardy's actually a good barometer, because if you look at Vardy's first year in the Premier League,
he got 7, didn't he?
He wasn't, you know, he wasn't very consistent. He scored penalties, and when they won the league, it all just clicked into place. And having that confidence of knowing, almost like knowing you can score goals.
But he also had Okazaki.
No, I know.
No, but what I'm saying is he had Okazaki
and
he had a shower as well. So he had other options. Leicester had other options. So he almost had to raise his game because they were a good partnership, the other two, and it was like, well, I've got to play. I want to play. And the character Vardy is, listen, he fronts Lonsdale's, doesn't he? So the character he is, he's going to go for he's going to work and work and work because that's what's in him and that's what Dom has
What
to
I would say as well, though, is about Vardy, if we're just comparing the two players, is Vardy gets probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 more chances a game. Dom doesn't get hardly any chances.
No, I think this is our problem.
He got none last week. You know, we went 4-0 and he's our centre forward and he didn't get 1 chance really in the whole game. And that's another problem.
But he can help that as well.
Of course he can, but that's what I'm saying. At the moment, his role isn't even to score goals. But when the opportunities arise, like Fulham and like Saturday, he's got to be ready, and he's just not quite there yet. And maybe
so. This is what I'm saying about our chance creation.
Oh yeah,
it's not there, is it? How many times do we create one-on-ones that you see Kane and Vardy get every week? We don't, do we? No. It's very hard for us to score goals. We almost try and walk it in. In the hardest way.
Who do we put that down to, Dave? In your opinion, because we're having. I think we're averaging 18 attempts at goal a game or something like that over the last whatever. So quite clearly we're having a lot more shots than we have done in the past. So we're expansive in that way. We can see that we had 23 attempts at goal against United, 23 against Arsenal, 19 against Chelsea, whatever. But the chances you're talking about, is it Sigurdsson? Is it Dom not making the right run? Is it our wide players? What do you look at?
It's a culmination, isn't it? You've got to keep mixing it up. Like we've mixed it up with the throw-ins to good effect in recent games, but the open play, we're just at times we don't move it quick enough. I think so. That is down to Sigurdsson. That is down to one of the wide players having an off day, picking the wrong pass, not having them options. I still don't think the movement is good enough.
Yeah.
And then there's them options off the bench to come in and mix it up.
Yeah.
I do. Watching Saturday, it didn't feel as fluent as when we play at home. It felt a lot more mechanical.
Yeah.
Like a lot more like you could see the patterns of play from the training field, and it is that thing of.
But isn't that good?
No. What I was going to say is it takes time, doesn't it, for that to become not a mechanical thing, but a natural thing to look. You look at
because it does at home.
You look at City, the best of the best, and you watch the way they play, and that's all training ground routines, isn't it? It's all training ground, because otherwise Pep wouldn't be the coach he is. The very best coach, but it's you can play like that, and Arsenal played like that for years. But it's at that tempo you're talking about, where it's just slow and everyone can get behind. But City do it so fast that it almost looks off the cuff, but it's not. It's worked on day and night by coaches doing whether routines and not only that, but you've seen that in the Man City documentary, all the classroom stuff.
Yeah.
He puts hours into it, and it's when it transitions from being looking mechanical to seeing all the moving parts, to it being fluid, and that's gonna take a while, but it's also gonna take and on art, it's gonna take better players as well. I think going back to what you said before, I think Gomes was a miss in this game. I think we could have coped without someone like Sneijder and had someone who could go both ways on Saturday, and that's the squad again, Dave, like you were saying. That's the squad, and being able to say, well, in this game, when we went to Cardiff, on that night, you were like, well, if Sneijder was playing, all right, that's fine, we've got a little bit of protection, and everyone else can almost go forward. Then same with last week, but I think on Saturday, that was a game where you looked at it, and people can say, well, Gomes has only scored one goal, and he hasn't got many assists. But if he moves the ball faster, if he sees things faster, then we get him round the back faster. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes a little pressure off. Then it takes pressure off Gylfi Sigurdsson as well, and we just move the ball a little bit faster and at better angles. And I think we just need a few more of those players. And I thought the starting 11 was really telling on Saturday. We were going down there on the coach, and people were saying, well, Walcott hasn't travelled, and Richarlison's got this injury, and it ends up being the same 11. And you watch Richarlison the whole game, he's practically playing with his hand on us.
But why is he playing
because the manager clearly doesn't trust other people.
I think he must have said, though, I'm fit.
No, but you could see he wasn't fit.
You've got to take the decision out of the players' hands, because players are going to be coming in on crutches saying they're fit. They'll play today. Just dose me up. They will. You've got to take it out their hands, and it is, like Ped's saying, it's a trust issue. The manager hasn't got them 20, 25 players who he completely believes in.
So in that case then, because I don't think you've been on for a while when Silva was getting a little bit of a kick in between, and I know on Twitter that you've been supportive of him anyway, but has he done, people will disagree with me here, but that's fine, has he done almost better then than what possibly could have been expected, given we've literally had 6 new players into the squad? So he's come in. What I mean is, you took over Everton, you walk into a dressing room and go, there's not many players who can do what I need us to do here. And he's almost got us now to the fact where we're talking about a game where we've gone away, we've dominated the game, we've passed it around. Okay, like Pet said, it wasn't as fluent, but we're seeing fluidity at home. When you sit down in your seat at Goodison now, you know that we're going to probably dominate the game, or we're going to create chances because we move the ball quickly. But trying that away from home, West Ham was the best we've played because we moved it quick and they couldn't live with us.
Yeah. Saturday
was similar to West Ham. It was just a little bit, because West Ham were more open than them, it caused us more problems. But has he done really well then, given that he's probably only got 13 players, like you said before?
Yeah.
Do you think he's done?
I think he has, because I think who's playing well now, or has played well since the turn of the year. So Bernie's been the star. Hadn't played a game since March.
No.
Was carrying an injury. No pre-season. Gomes, no pre-season. Richarlison,
half a pre-season. Dean only had half a pre-season.
Yeah.
So in that,
Mina's been in and out, struggle. Zuma may have played in America with Chelsea. It was a last-minute thing.
Pickford had a week, didn't he? A week off after the World Cup.
Yeah,
Sigurdsson. So
no centre forward as well.
And we haven't had
dealing with that also.
Yeah.
Really.
So I suppose, without going overboard on Silva, because we shouldn't, but I mean, I think he's done well this season. But I think what you said before, the summer's the big factor, isn't it? Because we do have to. There's a couple of key areas, and Saturday highlighted it better than most.
I think this season was. I've said this a couple of times. Was always going to be a free hit.
Okay.
Because last season was such a mess and a write-off in the heart, and we've got to unpick that because the wage bill is so inflated, and we've got players that we don't want, players are unhappy, you know, and stuff a lot of non-burners, if you like. So it was, what can you do? What can you do? And Brands and Silva, you know, did the job what they needed to do. Then it was down to all that coaching. And like he said in an interview, whether it was with The Guardian, about they've had to learn a whole different way of playing, haven't they? It's not because no one's zonal marks. You go down to any pitch this weekend, no one will be zonal marking. It's something you have to learn and look at where we are now. So it's just, and that striker one.
I mean, there's been tangible improvements anyway. The way we play. I think back 12 months, you know, you were going to Goodison like that, weren't you? The game at the weekend, we were like, just get this season done, really get it done, because I hate watching it. We were terrible. We've had 22 attempts at goal. You know, last year we were having 8 and 7.
Lucky if we got one on target.
Exactly. And you know, you might win a game 1-0.
And haven't we got the second highest possession won in opposition half after City?
Probably. We had it up in December, we were number 1.
So there or thereabouts, certainly in the top 3 or 4 teams in the league.
Exactly.
It's just this
4th best clean sheets in the Premier League. So there's been real progress, given he's had one transfer window. You know, we threw January away because the manager doesn't really like it. Managers will always want players, always want it.
Of course they do,
but the director of football doesn't see it unless it's an essential, which is fine. No issue with that. But I thought it was really interesting. Silva doing an interview and saying he expects Machiri's basically told him he's going to put his hand in his pocket again this summer, and there's no problem with it. And I thought that was quite interesting that he's come out already and said it, you know, not going to be an issue.
Has been worried about the Esk.
I think he was worried about
worried about what the Esk was saying.
The Esk wasn't happy with it.
Filter into that.
But in this game,
I mean, listen, go on, I'm just going to say, I mean, Brands has been working all year to make sure we get people in the summer. That's his job. If there was no money, then his job would be pointless, wouldn't it? So
we're not coming into we're not waiting for the season to go into right. Let's start picking up the phone and see what we can get.
No.
You would think that 4 are done. And at least 2 or 3 are there or thereabouts between 70 and 90%.
What you want, hopefully, is almost like they do it, where it's just like the night before you get the 10 at half-10, the half-10 sweets from Paul Joyce, and it's like
Bernie was like that, wasn't he?
But it's like that, but that's what they're like, isn't it? They hope to tie up a deal with so and so tomorrow, and you go, whoa, where did that come from? And the amount of times I've seen that, or the other way is where they want somebody and it almost goes on for a while, but there's like never ever any doubt that the person's coming. I remember when they were trying to get like Alisson this season and Salah the year before, it was like all season it was like there was no panic, it was just in the summer, it was like, no, he's coming, we're just having to, and that's what you hope. Everything's tied up and it might be a case of a couple of little things here and there, but you hope that's what we'll do. But because these are the games, aren't they, where we need that extra little bit of class, like you were saying before. It's fine when teams come to you in the top 6 and they're open and they want to play. Almost then it's almost like a fair fight in a way. That sounds silly, but both teams want to play football, and it's just who's better on the day. In the last few weeks at home, we've been better on the day. But it's when teams don't want to play football, it's finding a way to beat them. And to be fair, on Saturday, I thought we'd found a way to beat them, because Coleman was getting in all the time. They realised Wan-Bissaka was giving nothing up. He was fantastic. He really was. He didn't do anything like amazing. Like he's just one of those kids who knows exactly when to intercept the ball. I thought he was brilliant, and he really did stop Bernard and Dean. And they were that deep anyway. But on the other side, we had that sorted. Coleman was in every single time, but he was so wasteful. But not only was he wasteful, because that'd be just criticising him, but we should have almost had players in different zones in the box, and a bit of movement would have undone them. And there wasn't enough. It was too static. Coleman would get in the box, he'd look up and, all right, he knocked one out and he put one over the top. But it was, where was the variation? Where was someone bursting a gut? And again, maybe that's where Gomes would have been offered a little bit more. Snyderland's 20 yards back there, so Garner. And you think, where's that extra player maybe just to catch one on the edge of the box? Or Sigurdsson, someone doing a decoy run, so Sigurdsson can do that little run that he likes doing to get onto it. There just wasn't enough variation for me.
When it's going well, that variation's there.
Yeah.
You know, when Theo runs through, he can either square it, you know, or he was never going to square it. But the option's there.
Yeah.
I think when it's a grind, it's almost like there's got to be a hand come out the sky and move it like Sabutio people. We are that static. Yeah. You see it from throw-ins, especially. We just big bugbear of mine. I know it's like a small thing, but it's them little bit of differences. And all of a sudden, 2 passes and you're in.
Of course.
You know, we seen it the other week. I know, you know, different scale, but De Bruyne, 1 pass, Sterling's in, and Palace are not going to get back in the game, are they? But that little bit of quality by just that movement.
But you're absolutely right, though, to look at those fine details. Some people will agree, and other people will be like, "Oh, well, what about it?" But the fine details define games, and the best teams are great at that. Liverpool got a throwing coach because they were giving the ball, and now we were laughing, but apparently their stats now for keeping the ball off throwing is like 85%, where it was 20 or something at the start of the season. So we've done it with the long throw with Luca Dean. All of a sudden, that's become a weapon now. Yeah. No one knew anything about it till 4 weeks ago. Then all of a sudden, it's like, I know, he scored against Arsenal. Well, exactly. You know, well, there you go. But I think there was one on Saturday before half time, and Richarlison got in, and Dom, he checks his run instead of just gambling. And if he just makes the run, I was showing Dave, he runs, stop, because I rewound it 3 times, so have a look at it. He runs, stops, and then goes. And by the time Richarlison's put it in, Richarlison's fuming with him, because if he carried on his run, he's got a little head and it's 1-0. And it's little things like that Dom's just got to go, I'm gambling here. Don't care if he runs offside and heads it in. You go, all right, that's a margin. That's a fine margin you've been, do that run again. Because if you keep doing that, one time you'll get it perfect and we're winning. That's what Harry Kane does. Runs in and puts it in. If he's offside or Aguero if they're offside, he'll do it again. And he'll do it again. And it's like you're saying with De Bruyne, with Sterling. Raheem Sterling will run. He'll run. He might be offside 5 times in the game, but on the 6th one, he's in and he scores. And it's that little thing that we don't do. It's almost like, it's like when it's 0, we defend like the greatest team in Europe. But we let a goal in. It seems like our heads go a little bit and we're a bit like shaky. And that's what happened to Fulham. We let one in, we should have gone, lads, settle this down, because these aren't great. We didn't. Jagielka starts making runs and leaving gaps, and then it's 2-0, and Newcastle was so...
But going back to what you just said there, though, if the quality of the cross isn't coming in, like in the second half, like if Seamus Coleman puts 5 crosses in, all to the same place, at least then Dom knows if he keeps making that run. But Seamus's crossing was like, one goes out, one goes over, one. It was like every single one. There's no consistency, like you've just said there. Kevin De Bruyne, you know every time. Imagine Sterling, it must go every time. Sterling must just go. If I go here, he'll find me eventually. Kevin De Bruyne's got that much quality, and that's what we lack as a football team, isn't it? That quality, so that one person goes, well, I'll gamble because eventually he will get me the ball, and we just. I think that's just something we lack. Seamus is just.
Things to work on, isn't it? Things to work.
Yeah, but Gary Neville points it out every week about the 2 inside forwards for City, Sterling and Sané, making them runs and just tapping it in. And it's like if Coleman knows to put that, just hit, go on Football Manager and hit low crosses. It is because someone's going to be there, but because it's so varied, well, does Dom know to check? Does he know to gamble? So.
If I was him, though, I'd go into that zone all the time, because you are going to get a chance. Checking. Well, the amount of times we put balls across the face of that goal, he's got a tap in, he's here. Whereas if you keep checking back to the penalty spot, they're having to dink it back, and then what you're going to do is stand an header. He's more likely to, if he runs in behind the defender, he's more likely to get a tap in or a stupid header, and he'll score goals that way. But again, that's
he might be getting told. He might be getting told.
Well, he might do, and that might be
to the penalty spot, and people pull it back.
That should be where Gylfi's is then, though. Dom should go 1, and Gylfi should be at the penalty spot, like we see in Cardiff.
Yeah.
Dom makes a run and Gylfi just drops off, and as he comes back, he strokes it in and win a 1-0.
Or even Dom runs front and Ben runs
And
around
he-
the
and
back.
he comes-
Because
exactly
he never
that.
seems to be in there.
And he should be
West-
there
West
as well.
Ham. He was,
Bernard
but-
should be. When
Well, that's like going back to the City
Coleman
thing, isn't
Baines
it?
thing,
Well, that's the
wasn't
City thing, isn't it? Every time there's always someone at the back post.
Yeah.
Sterling scored nearly 20 odd goals this season.
Aguero does.
Not a finisher. You know, either is he? He's
No,
just,
no,
he's just
no.
learned
He's-
to
yeah.
them runs.
Yeah.
Because he
And
always
Dom
kn-
could take a lot from that.
He could, you're right, yeah.
Don't know how we got that much time out of a 0-0.
No,
But we
no,
did
we've
well. We did
exhausted
well.
it. Yeah,
We did well. Let us
yeah.
know your thoughts in the comments on this game. Are you happy that we're getting more consistency and we're playing better? Let us know. Or are you disappointed that we never won it? And anything that we've mentioned, let us know your thoughts. Big thanks for Dave for coming in while he's on it. He's on his honeymoon and he's coming here.
This is my honeymoon.
It potentially is.
Everton, my first, last
it.
love.
That's
yeah.
it.
Cut this bit out.
This might need this on Patreon and just never goes on.
Yeah. Don't put this anywhere
you
where
go.
his missus can see it.
They're married now. She'll
Yeah, she
probably
will.
just like, whatever.
Yeah.
There you have it.
There you go.
We'll see you later.